Welcome back to Biz Today. I'm Nazareen Ebrahim, and yes, we're talking to seasoned entrepreneur in studio, Nazeem Ali, one of the founders of Shadows. It's a premium men's clothing boutique, well known right across South Africa. We're in conversation with him about his business, how he started thinking about being an entrepreneur, and some of the challenges which he interestingly tells me you can take and look at them as risks or threats, but obviously turn that into opportunities and strengths. And I know that's where we left our conversation.
Correct. So there's a lot of introspection. You need to be able to sit and sometimes just close out and sit down in your office and think for an hour. And then say, okay, so these are risks. Because you're not going to go know the risk unless somebody has applied their mind to it. Yeah. So if you and it's very easy as an entrepreneur to get sucked into the operational side of the, pay the bills, do the sales, mark the stock. But what about who's thinking about the business? Who's thinking about the risk? Who's thinking about the opportunities? Who's thinking about the future growth? So somebody has to do that.
That's such an interesting point you've made, and leading on to our next question to talk about, which is entrepreneurs so easily work in the business and become the technicians in the business, as Michael Gerber says in his book, E-Myth Revisited. Yeah. And maybe sometimes play the manager, but never the entrepreneur. So you spend probably 10% of your time working on the business rather than just working on it, and work maybe the 90% of the time in the business, and probably not face any growth.
Okay, now maybe, but 25 years ago, I opened boxes, marked stock, and did the sales. And in the evening did the accounts. So you did everything. So it depends where you are in the cycle of your business. Okay. So if you're a one-man business, you're going to do everything. So you could be the technician, you got to be the accountant in the evening and pay the bills. And once you open you employ your first staff, you then have to put your HR hat on and manage your staff and then train that staff. So the trick is to do everything. But you got to get to a point where you got to make that growth, that jump to say, okay, I'm making money now how do I make smart money? Right? And the hardest thing for us to do was to give our first set of keys to our manager. So the three partners always had one shop each to run, and all of a sudden we opened our fourth store and we said, who goes there? And you have to give your first key
away to a manager.
Yes.
That's a lot of trust.
So
involved.
That's not trust, you had this, but it's that, I think it's traditionally the Indian businessman that the next door has to be a family member, but if we're giving a key to an outside.
Traditional method of giving the keys away to a house.
So it's that first step. But that first step is the one when you truly start to create wealth. Because you remember there's only X amount of days in an hour, X amount of hours in a day. So how do you duplicate yourself? So there's a choice. Stay where you are and do 100,000 in turnover, or get another 5 Nazeems. They might not work at your capacity, but if they work at 80%, you're still going to do 4 times what you did. You're following the
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs have that hesitation before they can scale their business.
Yes.
In wanting to allow other people to do what they did in the business, because only I can do that. Only I could deliver or output that.
And the other thing is, we involved in the mentorship program. So the thing is, people want to help. Entrepreneurs who are starting off, it's frightening statistics out there. 70% of all entrepreneurs fail in the first 5 years. So why don't you ask for help? There are organizations out there, there are people out there that want to help. You'd be amazed at, you just go up to it could be a family member, it could be a client. Go out there and say, I need help. Can you help me to do a cash flow? Can you help me to do a break-even analysis? I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? And you'd be surprised that people will not steal your idea. They actually will help you.
And you also then learn, once you start approaching a varied network of people who you can and can't trust, you start understanding who in business is.
Well, that should be the first step. You should approach somebody that you trust, right? But again, I keep on identifying, we've made mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've got stores that haven't made money from day one, and the trick is to manage and get out of it as quickly as you can with your reputation intact. So why should you make the same mistake I made? I'm there to help you and tell you, I don't think that's good for you. I've been there, I did that. So ask for help.
Go and find a mentor, which I think should be on the top 5 priorities for an entrepreneur.
You need somebody, especially in the beginning. You need somebody. I reiterate, Al Baraka Bank, we're almost like our mentors for that first 2 or 3 years, and I continuously give them credit because of that, because they forced those disciplines into me. So we get sucked into the operational side of the business, and we forget that there's help out there.
Talking about family and friends, how important is family to you as a business owner and someone who's been incredibly successful over the years?
I'll divide that into 2 parts. Immediate family, meaning my wife and my kids. I involve them as much as I can as to what I'm doing. The reason is that when I'm working on a Sunday they need to understand why. They need to know where the business is from and where we came from, so that they don't feel that, oh, but why are you taking a phone call, or why did you go in today, or last week I did a revamp in a store and I was doing site meetings at 10 o'clock in the night. So for 1 week, every night I had to go in and do a meeting at 10 o'clock in the night. So they need to understand the thought process behind that. So, and once they understand that, they don't give you flack, in inverted commas. I'm part of a large family, and my family is very supportive of the initiatives that we do. And I find, especially now at this point in my life, or for the last 10 years, lots of my family members come across to me and ask me for help. Sure. And I'm always willing to give it. So yeah, family is very important for me. And
that's wonderful, because in a way you're also giving back to your own family and looking after them and growing potential or talent where you can see it.
Start at home first. Start with the family first and then go out. So give back first immediately to your family as much as you can.
We are rounding up what's been a very interesting conversation with you. I'm hoping, inshallah, we can get you back into the studio in coming shows to talk about other plans for the business and potential ideas that you have, especially with technology. Okay. But what's some final words that you have for aspiring entrepreneurs in South Africa? Understanding also, we've had numerous things that happened in the year 2016. The Fees Must Fall campaign escalated to a new level. The talk around unemployment is ever increasing, and the debate. What would you say to young people, or all people who want to be business owners?
The first thing is, sometimes the simplest ideas are the easiest. So look for a simple idea that you can make work. Don't be scared to work 18-hour days. You're going to have to work 18-hour days, especially if you're starting initially 1, 2, or 3, with one, it's you, your wife, maybe you got 1 employee. Very important, you got to have passion for what you do. If you don't have passion, it's a job. If you have passion, it's no longer a job. I mean, yesterday I got asked 3 times, when am I retiring? I said, I don't want to retire, I love what I do. So if you have passion, you love what you do.
Nazeem, before you go away, one last request of you. Please let our viewers know where they can find all your stores.
We everywhere in Durban, so we've got stores in Gateway, Pavilion, Musgrave, Westwood. Those are the shadow stores. We also own the following brands. We got the Polo Concept Store, the Bugoza Concept Store, the Rockport Concept Store, and Jasmine is all our brands. So any of those brands are all ours. And we are the largest retail in most of the brands. So to give you an example, like a brand like Pringle, we 26% of the business in the province. So you're going to get the biggest range in our stores. And allied with our service, will make you look like $1 million.
Wonderful. Of course, you can walk into that boutique and look like a James Bond. Clearly, you can tell James Bond is one of my favorite characters. Nazeem, it was a wonderful pleasure having you in studio and learning from your experience. Please join us again.
And Nazeem, Jazakallah for having me. Thank you to viewers. And anytime we can help, be there.
Wonderful. It was Nazeem Ali, one of the founders of Shadows. It's a premium men's clothing boutique, has a large presence in KZN, and also well known throughout South Africa. You want to hear more about his story? Go online and follow our journey on our social channels. You can follow us at BizToday_ZA and find us on Facebook, Biz Today. You can also catch me, Nazareen. If you want to find out anything, you need more information, you want to get access to our esteemed guests, email me, naz@sociallyacceptable.co.za. Until next week, goodbye.